Welcome back. We're excited that you guys stayed with us and our numbers are going up again. So we appreciate you being here. Just want to remind you of a few things we discussed before session 1. Because the audience is so large, everyone will be muted and you'll not be able to unmute yourself, not because we're trying to be rude, but with the numbers this large, we want the session to run smoothly and we don't want John or anyone else from Taylor to be cut out or have any problems and have unintended confusion. But if you have a question for the presenter, please write us in the chat room. We'll have a Q&A at the end. And if there's any question that comes up multiple times, then we'll stop John during his presentation. I've been blessed to know John Matthews for, well, we don't want to say how many years, do we, John? That might tell how old we are. But I've known him for a long time, and I'm telling you, he's doing great things for his community. And I believe part of the success is, from what I know about John, he has a true servant's heart. I've never seen him try to do anything that draws attention to himself. If anything, he does just the opposite. And because of that true servant's heart, people are drawn to him. And he's committed not only to his school district, but he's truly committed to his community at large. Taylor ISD won one of our best practices awards last year. And so I can tell you, you are going to be in for a treat. And I'm honored to call John a friend, and I'm honored to get to introduce him this morning as the presenter from Taylor ISD. So strap in and prepare to receive some new tools that you can use to grow your program. And let's do what we've been doing. Let's give him a warm wave this morning. Hey, John. And so at this time, John, I'm just going to turn it over to you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for those kind words. I appreciate that. My name is John, John Matthews. I'm the coordinator of family support services for Taylor School District. I'm also the parent liaison, the McKinney-Vento liaison, the foster liaison. I'm the mentoring dude. And I wear other hats as well, as I'm sure all of you do. I've been doing this initially with Head Start in Taylor, and then for the school district for 20 years now, working with students and families. I just want to say that I'm honored that Skip Forsyth and Terry Safford would allow me to present this information to you. Thank you for being here. I hope I don't waste your time. I hope you get just a little bit out of it and maybe something to take to your families. I do need to say that with COVID-19, in-person outreach events, they may not be practical or safe in your area. The first 3 programs I'm talking about today, well, they're in-person outreach events. These events are only safe when we're virus-free and able to meet in large groups when we're not worrying about viral load or contamination. These programs might not be safe right now, but I have faith and I believe we're going to beat this virus and we're going to come back to large gatherings one day. Okay? Just so you know, I'll talk about some COVID-19 things at the end of, well, after I talk about these first 3. Let's get back to the slides. Nobody wants to see a burnt out parent liaison. Nobody. As educators, we're all mentors. And a student or a parent, particularly students, they're watching us and they're learning from us. And they learn from our language and our behavioral characteristics. And if we're burnt out, our language and our mannerisms are going to reflect that. Nobody wants to see a burnt out mentor. Guys, there's absolutely nothing wrong with taking a mental health day. I'm taking one tomorrow. Take a day off from work just to enjoy your life. It's fun, you'll enjoy it, and it refreshes you. And it just seems to make things better. I'm not going to talk about everything on this list. I do want to mention mindfulness because I really couldn't wrap my head around the concept initially. I looked it up in the dictionary. It's used as a therapeutic technique. It's a mental state achieved by focusing one's awareness on the present moment while calmly acknowledging and accepting one's feelings, thoughts, and bodily sensation. I couldn't understand that until I read a book by Nick Saban. Nick Saban said this in 5 words: be where your feet are. Be where your feet are. If you want to develop relationships with families and students, you need to be where your feet are. If you're not where your feet are, take a mental health day. That's Taylor ISD. That's who we are. We're 30 miles east of Austin. And I've lived here for 20 years. I married a Taylor girl. We love it here. And it's home. Taylor's home. The goal, the goal of this is simply to think about creating maybe an off-campus event that's designed to do nothing other than develop relationships. The event is secondary to developing relationships. I honestly feel like a lot of my job is developing and maintaining relationships. And I do it. I don't mind it. I love it. But we have some parents that no matter what the event is, what the event is, what you're going to do, what day it is, what time it is, door prizes, or what kind of food you're serving, they're not going to go on campus. We all do what bubbles to the top of the list. It bubbles to the top, we do it, we start the day over. We value the things that bubble to the top of the list. We do them, we start over. And that's the routine. The things that bubble to the top are the things that we accomplish. And we all have limited time. I found that in Taylor, for some of the families that I need to talk to, some of these off-campus events will tend to bubble to the top. And then I have an opportunity to talk to them and develop a relationship with the students and families as well. Plus, the events I'm discussing today are reoccurring. So you know what? If they miss one, there's another one coming right around the corner. The idea is to create an event in a non-threatening environment and have a conversation with a family, a parent, or a student about, well, I talk a lot about food. It's recipes, barbecue, and restaurants. We talk cars. We talk about the things we want to do. We talk about the things we'll never do. And, we talk about our hopes and dreams for ourselves as well as our families. So look, just relax. And I hope you enjoy the presentation. Put down the pen and the paper. There's really nothing to write down. This is more of a processing thing. I'll actually have you write one thing down, but we'll talk about that later. This is just processing, and just think about an event maybe that you could have that does nothing other than to develop relationships. I do need to say that these events I'm talking about, these 3 events, they might not work well in Amarillo. They play good in Taylor, but maybe not in your community. So I know I had a movie night once and it was a big failure. A movie night where you are might be a huge success. You might knock it out of the park. Either way, what works here might not work there, but the idea, again, have an event. The primary focus of the event is to develop relationships. So I mentioned that our parents tend to do the things, everybody, me included, tend to do the things that bubble to the top of the list. We do those things that bubble to the top. So why not invite a family to spend a summer evening in the park? Okay, first of all, relax. We don't go till midnight. We tried doing that once, and that was a really, really bad idea. I was there with 2 pastors and myself, and we were burnt out parent people. We were burnt out mentors. It was a sad sight. But we knew we were onto something because we had about 40 kids there. So we went back to the drawing board, we retooled, and we came back with another program. We still call it Midnight Basketball because the guys that attend, those students, they like that Midnight Basketball name on their t-shirts. They get t-shirts every summer and they like to see Midnight Basketball. So we left the name the same, but we don't go to midnight. This is a summer program. We provide basketball, dodgeball, volleyball, arts and crafts. We do a character education component, plus we eat a really big meal. Again, it's a summer program. We go on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We start with the games and the arts and crafts about 6:30. Then at 8:15, we have a character education component. The character education component will talk about two things: the value of an education or making good choices. After character education, we eat. Then we stand around on the basketball court and we just eat until the food's gone. We go home. We go home around 9:15. You're looking at a photograph of probably the first month of basketball, midnight basketball. We weren't going to midnight at this point. I've been doing the program probably 15 years. There's an arrow at the bottom of that photograph, and it's pointing to a young lady's elbow, and that is Malaysia. Malaysia's in the 6th grade in that photograph. Let's see what she has to say. She's a sophomore in college here.
And I started going to midnight basketball when I was in middle school. I met John Matthews at my middle school. He was passing out flyers. I remember this like yesterday. And I saw the flyers and I'm like, oh, in my neighborhood. Oh, I can't wait to go. Midnight basketball was definitely an opportunity for me and my cousins to have something to do, something positive to do. We looked forward to going to midnight basketball. There were so many different people who would come to help us, who would volunteer with John. We learned so many great things. It was just so much fun.
It must be about 8:15 because that's the character education component of midnight basketball. That's Adam Sanchez. He's in the middle there, and two parents in the background. And he's talking about making good choices or the value of an education. Arts and crafts. And I don't know if you can see everybody, but we got fingers in the lower left-hand corner, a parent there. Right-hand side of the photograph is an elbow. And then, of course, we have a parent on the table. We have different locations around to do arts and crafts. We probably have 20 or 30 arts and crafts students per evening. No parents in this photograph. That's just two young ladies having a good time out in the park. Dodgeball. Dodgeball is a lot of fun. I'm in the left-hand corner there. I've got the whistle on, and that's just a picture. If you're going to do dodgeball, get a big, tall screen or fence in the back. A tennis court's a great place to play dodgeball. This is the same photograph. I've just put a white square above the parents in the photograph. There's always parents moving in and out of these programs. I mean, there's another reoccurring program. It's not the same students every day. We use community volunteers, Lions Club, Rotary Club, Kiwanis Club, Chamber of Commerce, a lot of churches. They bring the food. They bring everything we need to eat: napkins, food, sporks, desserts, everything. They set it up and then we eat. We have a good time. That's us on a new court. We got a new basketball court, and if you look in the middle of that picture, there's a young lady in a black blouse and jeans, and that's Malaysia. She's probably a junior or a senior in high school at that point. She's always at the events. Why is this a good relationship building event? Well, the best answer I can give you is that it's summer, and everything in the summer, it's just, everything just seems to be better. We can enjoy fellowship of each other. We're eating a meal outside in the park. You know, it's about 8:30, 8:45, 9. It's cooling off a little bit. We're just eating, we're talking, we're having a good time. We're out of that academic environment and into just a who we are environment. And it's time well spent. It's just, I can't say anything else other than it's summer. Look, I'll just go on to the next relational opportunity. And this event is good for parents, grandparents, teachers love it as well. I want to talk about car seats, and more precisely, how you can have car seat inspection events and basically distribute brand new, fresh, out of the box car seats to your parents free of charge. And also at the same time, if you become a car seat technician, be a resource to your families. I'm a car seat tech. I went to a class for about a week. I got certified to install car seats in cars. I have car seat inspection events, and you don't have to be a tech to have an event, but it helps with the relationship building. Look, I took that photograph. I took that photo of those two babies right there. That mom pulled into my event. I looked at the seats that she had. I knew she needed new seats. I got some fresh out of the box seats for her. We put her babies in those seats, made sure they fit. And I was telling her what I was doing all along the way. Then we got those girls in the car, in those seats. Then we took everything out, and the mom did the whole thing again by herself from what I had just told her. It's kind of an educational event, but there's a sense of satisfaction for doing a job well done. And with two kids, it takes about an hour, and you have a lot of time to talk about your girls in this instance, talk about the kids, talk about anything, but it's just a good relational event. Just about every adult is using a car seat, will use a car seat, or is going to need a car seat. That's what's going to attract parents to these events. And they keep coming back. They're going to come back because there's always follow-up questions. Plus, they're going to need new car seats. And those are additional relational opportunities for you. Always more questions. As parents, we want our children safe. We want to protect our kids. I mean, duh. We want to protect our children. Car seats keep your children safe. I'm not going to read any slides to you. You can read, but I'm actually going to read this because it's important.
Hey, John, can I interrupt for just a second? Because
Absolutely.
We've had one question come up multiple times. How do you pay for the car seats, and how do you get the car seat certification that you were addressing?
I'm going to come to that down the slide. Can I come to that?
Absolutely. Thank you,
If
John.
I manage to miss it, you get right back to me.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm going to read this to you. I don't read slides, but let me read this one. A properly fitted, and properly fitted is very important. A properly fitted car seat reduces infant death by 75%. A properly fitted car safety seat reduces infant death by 75%. 54% for toddlers, 45% for children ages 4 through 8. Properly fitted is an important term. When the parents come up to car seat events as a tech, the first thing I do is look at those existing seats. Are they in right? Yes or no? 59% of the seats are not properly fitted. 59%. So 59% of car seats are not installed properly. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration recommends children be in car seats or boosters for 12 years. It's a long time to develop a relationship. 12 years or until you're 4 feet 9 inches tall. And when you're 4'9", you can safely use a seatbelt. You want that belt coming across your shoulder, right here on your sternum, and then attaching in the buckle on your hip. You don't want your neck involved with the seatbelt or your stomach. You don't want your neck or your stomach absorbing those crash forces. So 4, 9, or 12 years of age. In Texas, it gets really hot in the summer. Hot in the summer, and if you're in Amarillo, it's going to be cold in the winter. With a car in the back, windows rolled up, it's going to be 120 degrees in the summertime. Those seats experience a pretty good fluctuation in temperature. And I'm going to tell you, 5 years. 5 years at the most is as long as you want to keep one car seat. That's why you should never buy a car seat at the thrift store or the garage sale, because you don't know the history of the seat. You need to know the history. So the best new car seat is one that's installed properly, is a new one, and you can do that. Terry, I think I'm going to hit your point right now. TxDOT has a huge car seat grant, the Texas Department of Transportation. You want to find out who operates the grant in your area and call them. That's what I did. Look, I guess you're asking some questions, so it's easy. Hi, my name's John Matthews. I'm the coordinator of Family Support Services in Taylor School District. Would it be possible to have a car seat inspection event in Taylor, maybe spring or summertime? I'll bring the food, the water, along with the volunteers. I've got a great location, and I think it would be a great idea. Listen, thank you for what you do. Thank you. I don't like role playing, but I did that for you guys. Look, it's important. Give them a call. The individuals that do car seats, they're passionate about it. They're going to call you back. These guys are usually policemen, firemen, ambulance drivers, or hospital crews. They've seen what happens when seats aren't installed right. They've seen infants go through windshields. They've seen traumatic brain injury. They've seen it all. It can be fixed. They understand the consequences of having an improperly installed car seat or no car seat at all. I'm going to tell you something. That's how I got into it. I just made the phone call, and I'm a car seat tech right now. You know, I told you there was one thing to write down, and this is it. Write down Safe Riders, and you guys are all smart. You can figure it out. Give them a Google. You'll get a phone number, and you want to ask who does the car seat events in your area. There's a grant. They're all free, and they come to you. You make appointments, and you'll get the child's height and weight, write it all down, and then make all these appointments. Then you turn that into the car seat techs, and they'll get the appropriate seat, and they'll come to your school, and you'll have a car seat inspection event. That's the way it works. It doesn't cost you anything. The seats are free. TxDOT's got a huge grant. It costs hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I'm looking at this financially, but I mean, with traumatic brain injury, TBI, a lot of money. An $80 seat solves so many problems. And again, these guys are passionate about it. They're going to call you back. Write that down. There's some things I do need to tell you about the events, some mistakes I made. And if you're going to have an event, you don't want to do this stuff. Children need to be present. So if you have a car seat event, you want to do it after school. Saturdays aren't real good. Do an after school event. Again, children must be present. So after school, Saturdays are bad. Do not do it in a school parking lot. Schools are really chaotic after school, and a lot of people driving around, and you don't want to be a part of that. When I set them up, I set them up in churches on a Thursday after school. Plus, churches love to have car seat events. You're saving kids' lives. You're keeping children safe. So it's a good partnership all the way around. That's our car seat crew right there, Taylor, Texas. That's me on the left-hand side. And in the middle is a guy named Willis. And Willis is the commander of emergency services in Williamson County. And he's the guy that returned my phone call when I called. And he encouraged me to become a car seat tech. And we're friends now. Those seats at the bottom are all seats that we took out of the cars because they've been recalled by the manufacturer, or the parents did not know the history of the seat, or they weren't appropriate for size and weight. So those parents got free seats. We inspect all the seats we do. So that's my crew there. Again, these guys are passionate about it, so don't feel bad about calling them. Why are car seats a good relational event? Again, I took that picture. Look at those babies. I mean, they're safe. You really shouldn't have to say anything else. That's why it's a good relational event. There's one more thing. When you work with churches, they have volunteer pools, and you get really good volunteers from churches. And I work at churches all around town, and I found some really good volunteers. And get one or two of those good volunteers that you find from your car seats and use them for my next relational opportunity. We're going to talk about mentoring. This is a mentor program that you can do. It's during lunch. Lunches in Taylor are 30, maybe 40 minutes. So if you're working on a job site or working in an office, you can cut out, hit a campus, do a lunchtime mentor, and be back within an hour. That's how I sell the program. It's a group program. We work with one mentor to about 3 students. And we're in a rural community. We're in Taylor, Texas, 15,000 or so. All of our pre-K and K are on one campus, elementary 1, 2, and 3. We have a 4th and 5th grade campus, middle school, then a high school campus. I do these programs, of course, during lunch, Monday through Thursday. So it's really easy for me to do them. I'm on campus at every one of these programs. I greet every volunteer mentor. I greet every student. Basically from 10:30-ish to 1:30-ish, Monday through Thursday, my days are booked. I'm doing mentoring. We're going to talk to Malaysia one more time. She does mention ISS in this video a couple of times, so I'm going to tell you in Taylor, that stands for in-school suspension.
I also really enjoyed the mentoring program. I met so many amazing people through John. I think my life wouldn't be the same had I not met those people who definitely made a positive impact in my life.
Hi, my name is Debbie Kovar. I'm a real estate agent in Taylor, Texas. In fact, I own my own office. And one of the things that I want to say about that is I did not get to where I am today without somebody helping me. And that brings me to the topic of being able to help John Matthews at Taylor ISD with mentoring. I've been helping him now for about 11 or 12 years, and I can't think of a better way to spend my time that I have been pouring into the life of a student. Sometimes it's not beautiful. Sometimes it's harder. Sometimes it's easy. I know for sure that I've had to understand that I'm not the beginning of their story, and I may not be the end. And in fact, I definitely won't be the end, but I'm somewhere sandwiched in there in the middle. And it's so rewarding when you get to see, hey, it's been 10 years and look at that student that I got to help. They're doing that job, or they've been successful, and to just know that we had just a little part in it, not a big part, but a little part. And that little part is what makes that student feel valued and keeps them moving on to the next step. Just today, I got a message from somebody who's going to graduate from high school, and I hadn't seen them in about 4 years. And it was just so nice that as they were getting ready to graduate and they've moved away, I haven't seen them, and they just wanted me to see a picture of them in their cap and gown. And that's what it's all about.
I will say mentoring, there was one time I was in mentoring, and I was in ISS, and John came to visit me, and he brought Debbie Kovar with him at the time, and he was like, hey, Malaysia, And I was like, yeah, what's up? You know, like, I'm in ISS, you know, like, what's up, you know? So he comes to visit me. He brings Debbie Kovar, and Debbie's like, hey, I found you a job. And I'm like, what? And I was like 15. So I got my first job through mentoring. And I thought that was amazing. Like, yeah, that was just so cool. And I made like another mom figure in my life who's been in my life since then.
So what do you do at a school-based mentor program? Well, pre-KK, grades 1, 2, and 3, you know, we talk table manners. It's a lot of, would you please chew with your mouth closed? We say that a lot in pre-KK, how to use a spork, what a napkin's for. We work on the table manners. Again, we're doing it during lunch. It's a 30-minute lunch. After that, the mentor is probably going to read a book. You might play a little tic-tac-toe, have a game, something like that. It's pretty easy. 4th and 5th grade, it's a little bit different. The communicative discourse at that point is usually directed by the student. They're getting to where they can start and stop conversations. They know each one has a beginning, middle, and end. And so we're working with that and just talking and just, you know, they're guiding the students through the program. We're going to play a game of Uno after they eat, maybe some dominoes, or maybe just talk about some issues going on at school. It's all pretty simple. It goes by really, really fast. You know, high school was a little bit different. There's a lot of social dynamics at the high school that we compete with actually, and prevents the students from attending mentoring. It's just difficult to get students to mentoring in the high school program. That's a photograph of the first year at high school. And of course, there's 2 mentors and 2 students. We kind of like a 1 mentor to 3 student ratio. So the program struggled for about the first year. And then I wrote a grant. I got a grant. I partnered with our culinary class at the high school, and we brought food to the programs. Go figure, a parent liaison bringing food to a program. So we brought in food, and the culinary class was able to get, you know, burgers, club sandwiches, Philly steak sandwiches, desserts, drinks, a whole 9 yards, just really good food, and bring it into the mentor program. And the program just thrived. It just took off. That's one lunch period at the high school. We have 3, and we filled it up. And it was just amazing. It was amazing. So now at the high school, we talk about your post-secondary life, from freshman all the way to your senior. We talk about, what are you going to do? We talk about rent. We talk about credit cards. We just talk about the things like that they're going to encounter as an adult. Some of them know, some of them don't. But either way, it's knowledge that cannot have a negative benefit. Those 3 girls in the front of the slide, those are 3 girls in middle school, same 3 girls in high school. And that's them right there. You can see after 6 years. Disregard that t-shirt that young lady's wearing. She's actually a substitute teacher now. It's kind of interesting. We hold that against her. We totally hold that against her. Debbie Kovar was the businesswoman that was in the previous video with Malaysia. You saw her, Malaysia, then you saw Debbie, and then you saw Malaysia again. You know, mentoring was her idea. We started on a 3rd grade campus. Debbie had 3 kids. I had 3 kids. We were at 2 separate tables. She had a table. I had a table. Over time, other parents wanted to volunteer. Just makes sense. You want people to help you. So they were asking to help us. Well, we had those parents sit at our table for 5-6 weeks straight before they moved on and they got their own table. In mentoring, if you sign up, you show up. That's really important. You got to show up. I've got an amazing volunteer. Her name is Carol Bachmeyer. She's a businesswoman here in Taylor. And Carol will redirect my mentors if they don't show up. She will redirect them to other volunteer opportunities within the school district. because I'm not gonna spend my time explaining to a student why your mentor is not there. That's not good for anybody. If you sign up, you show up. 99.999% of mentoring is showing up. You know, the magic tricks, the juggling, the jokes, they wear off. It's showing up. And our kids are going to make some bad choices. They're going to do that. When they do that, we just ask them, what are you going to do next time so this doesn't happen again? Keep it pretty simple. We want them to be our friend, or we want that relationship, not really a friendship relationship, but we don't want to damage a bad choice with berating them or making them feel bad. When you're mentoring, you need to be where your feet are. And if you're not where your feet are, you know what to do. That's Mr. Terrazas in that picture. He's a mentor. He's a great mentor. That young man he's with, that's our first, second, third grade campus. That young man's a second grader and he's new to the school. And it wasn't mentoring that day, but that young man was having a bad day. And I just happened to be on campus doing something. And I took that shot. Mr. Terrazas was just walking around with him, walking around the campus and calmed him down. And that's good. That's what a mentor does. Why is mentoring a good relational event? Well, it's all about healthy intergenerational relationships with these students. And we work on social and emotional skills as well. We want our students to get their diploma. We want them to go to college, to the military, to some type of post-secondary education, whether it's a certification program, trade school, something like that. After their education, move back to Taylor, get a job, have a family, and mentor for themselves. I've got a couple of things I want to say, and then we're going to do another quick mentoring video, and then I'll get into some other things. One thing about these relationship building events that I need to say. These relationship building events that are volunteer driven, it just makes raising money easier. Midnight basketball, especially midnight basketball, lunchtime mentoring, car seats, some of the other programs I do allow me to do so much more. I'm responsible for raising all the money for all the events that I do. I have to raise that money. I don't have a fundraiser, never have, don't need one. When I have an outreach event, these repeating events designed to develop relationships, they get the attention of good people. And these good people donate money, and it helps a lot. Another thing that's important, I don't do these events alone. The Carol Bachmeyers of the world, the Debbie Kovars, the volunteers, they are the events. They thought of most of the events. They show up, they are the programs. On a good day, it's 5% me, 95% volunteers. Look, find some people that are willing to volunteer, that you get along with, and listen to what they say, and then go do it. That's what I did, and it worked out really well. As far as the point I made about these events pretty much raising their own money, listen to this video that Caleb is going to do. So only about a minute. And at the end of this, he's going to pretty much bring the point home.
I met John after Taylor Middle School had to eliminate their school-based after-school program. And so he reached out to the community, and that's how Serve Taylor After School began. We work with behaviorally challenged, emotionally challenged, mostly middle school boys. And John recognized the need, especially for them. And so that's how Serve Taylor came to exist. I work with these guys Monday through Thursdays, every day after school. I work to build trust and build relationships. I seek to be a constant in their life. It's just mentoring, pure and simple. There's no 3-step I'm going to fix you project that doesn't exist. And so we don't even try and do that. I like to think of what our job is, what we're doing is planting seeds and tending to an orchard. These guys are growing up to be men and husbands and fathers. And so I want to be a constant in their life to show them how to be good men, good fathers, good husbands, responsible citizens. And so we are in this for the long haul. This is not just some, quick here, go through my program for a year. This is mentoring, plain and simple. Because there are those who understand the importance of our work. A lot of times guys like the ones we work with get little to no resources, little to no help until after they've reached crisis point, after they've had a run-in with the justice system or, some kind of breakdown or crisis. A lot of times they don't get the resource help they need. Thankfully, we have community partners who recognize the important work that we're doing with these guys at this stage. And so we have secured funding for a building that will house our project, give us a home permanently.
So I was looking for a church. I thought no one ever gets in trouble at church. I was looking for a church to house a program for some after-school boys. These guys were getting out of school when they went to school, and they were hanging out at the park. Just a matter of time before somebody got into trouble. So I was looking for a program. Caleb was a youth director at a church, one of the churches I talked to, and he said, let's do it. So he was in his church and he was doing the program, 4 till 6 after school, working with these guys. And some good people, unbeknownst to us, got together and presented Caleb with a check. And now we have that building. And it's just good people recognizing that you're trying to do something, and they go out and they help you. So that's it. In the back, we're going to have basketball and volleyball. Up front, we're going to try to get a air hockey table to go along with foosball. We're going to put some desks in there and then some laptops or maybe desktops. And hopefully when this COVID-19 thing breaks, we're going to bring in some seniors and senior citizens and have some intergenerational mentoring opportunities. I took that picture a couple of weeks ago. This is a work in progress, but that's the inside. That's the outside of the building. It's a plain building. There's nothing fancy. We spared no expense on the mop bucket there in the porch, but I should have pulled that out before I took the picture. Again, that just happened. And there was no fundraising going on or anything like that.
Hey, John, another question that's been asked several times is what's the process that you use to find your mentors in the community? And is there a vetting process?
Absolutely. I'm there on campus, and we're really concerned about that. We're not going to have anybody not show up. We want them to show up because the student's going to ask, well, where's my mentor? What did I do wrong? We don't want to put them in that situation. As far as vetting, there's a criminal history background check that they all go through before they even step a foot on campus. And then they come on campus and they sit with us at a table. Carol Bachmeyer, who is a volunteer, but she has taken over that whole thing, and they will sit with Carol and they will sit with her for 6 weeks so that they understand what we're trying to do. We're not trying to point our fingers at any of these young men or women. We just want to be there. We want to be positive, and we want to create relational opportunities. So we do it that way. As far as volunteers, I said I work with a lot of churches, and it's just that way. And I'll go in and I'll talk to churches. I ask for volunteers. I'll talk to our clubs, Kiwanis, Lions, Rotary, the Chamber, things like that, and bring guys in that are already volunteering and doing that work. Did that answer the question? Did I?
It did. And another kind of segue is, what are you doing during COVID to reach the kids? I mean, are their mentors still connecting with their students?
A little bit. No, we're not. Not right now. We might go to some type of Zoom mentoring in January, but this semester we're not doing anything, not for mentoring. Now, Caleb's got his group coming in, but as far as mentoring right now, we're not doing anything.
Great. Thank you, John.
Sure. Let's go to another slide. That's Juan. That's Juan in the 6th grade. That was many years ago. He was in Caleb's program. That's Juan as an 8th grader. That's 2 years later. Juan is accepting an award for Citizen of the Month for the month of April. That was a big day for us. Next to Juan is on the left-hand side is Travis Motal. He's a principal extraordinaire. He's not at Taylor ISD anymore, but if he's on one of your campuses or in your district, just tell him I said hello. He's a good man. He always supported the things that we were doing. I'm going to talk a little bit about COVID-19 outreach, some things we're doing now. It's just really difficult to develop a relationship on a computer monitor. For me, it is. I think maybe if you're younger, you can do it better. I need to learn how to do that. From March to August. So in March, my wife told me I wasn't going to hang around the house all day. So I called our food services people and I asked them, hey, can I hand out meals? Can I help hand out meals? And they said, sure. They needed someone to drive a van. They had 2 van drivers. They needed 3. So I said, sure, I'll drive a van. So I had about 6 stops in Taylor, and I would get in my van and drive, and the students would come up. I would hand them a hot lunch, a supper, and a breakfast. And I did that Monday through Thursday. On Thursdays, I would hand them the same thing, but they would get breakfast, lunch, and supper for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and Monday breakfast as well. So we were feeding them 7 days a week. And I was able to do 20,000 meals. And that was, the handing out meals was highly relational. By April and May, the students were saying, Mr. Matthews, when are we going to come back to school? When are we going to come back to school? And I was amazed. And in June and July, they came up and they were saying like, well, I had a young man look at me. I remember the first time, and it just warmed my heart. I mean, he just looked at me and he said, Mr. Matthews, be safe, be careful. And he walked off. And it makes you feel good. I started thinking about it when I was preparing this presentation. You know, he's thinking about someone besides himself. And if there's a good thing about this and the situation we're in right now, it's that I think people are thinking about other people, and that's good. I've got to talk about our Sodexo Food Services. They did 141,000 meals from March till August. We had a campus and they were just pumping out meals right there. A drive-through. Again, we had 3 people in vans, and they did an amazing, amazing job. Right now, since August, I'm doing home visits. I stay on the porch for the most part. It's a porch visit, but I'm making sure everyone's okay. We have some issues with people not doing any work, as I'm sure you all do. And we're just making sure everybody's okay. I'm not there to issue any ultimatums or anything like that. I just try to make sure everyone's all right. Maybe some things we might be able to do a little bit better in the future. And we're gonna get through this and come back in a little while. Guys, I'm gonna wrap this up. We've started a housing stability group. I'm the McKinney-Vento liaison, and what we're trying to do is be proactive about homelessness. So our Precinct 4 Judge Stacy Hacklenberg and Life Park, which is a big not-for-profit in Taylor, started the program. I'm the McKinney-Vento liaison. They wanted me to be a part of it. And it's simply a group that will address housing stability. We don't have a large homeless population in Taylor. We have a larger population that will experience unstable housing. And we're just trying to get ahead of that. We're trying to locate some supports, maybe some opportunities, maybe some agencies that'll pay utilities and get all of that together. We're working with landlords so they can get the information out. And as you can see, we had a Rent Smart class on the 3rd of this month, and we're going to roll with another one on Friday. I do a backpack program. We upped everything up for COVID-19 on backpacks. If you look at that picture, you'll see Pop-Tarts, Capri Suns. What do we have? Some slices, fruit roll-ups, mac and cheese, Lucky Charm cereal, chocolate pudding, and a lot of beefaroni. The staples, they go into a backpack. We send them home on Friday to kids that maybe might not have the meals on the weekends. So that's a lot of help. You know, I mentioned there's good people everywhere, and when you do something, they call you. So we mentioned we were stepping up with the backpacks, and that information gets out. Randy Hartford from Atmos Energy called me and said, John, I got a bunch of backpacks. Do you want them? And I said, sure. He came over and he gave me a couple hundred backpacks, which is great. I mean, I pay like 61 cents each for them. And so we stuff those backpacks and we send them home on Friday. Good people will help you if you're doing outreach. They will come in and they will help you. That's our food pantry. I deliver food now to families in crisis. I'm not going to deliver all that food. That's just the food they're handing out for that day. I'll take one, maybe 2 bags, and I'll get that to a family in crisis. We have a clothes closet. Again, if a family needs clothes, they call me. I'll get the sizes. I'll call the clothes closet. It's called Coat of Many Colors. It used to be the Taylor School District clothes closet, but we gave it to Coat of Many Colors because they can staff it every day. And they'll select some clothes that fit and put them up, and that family can pick up some clothes. Where are we here? That's Shepherd's Heart. I've got a couple of other events, and I know I'm going long, so just give me a second here. 911 emergency camp came from car seats. I work with the sheriffs or the police, ambulance crews, fire department, and hospital staff. They wanted to do a 911 camp. We were talking at a car seat event. So there we go. We're at the fire department on Monday. Tuesdays, we're at the police department. Wednesdays, it's ambulance. What's going on in an ambulance? 911 call center on Thursdays. We graduate on Friday. It's a half-a-day program. It's in the summer. Everything I do is free. And these are guys that may be looking into doing that. It's a career option. So it works for fire and all those crews as well. This is the last one. It's Silver Cord. The Lions Club called me one day years and years ago. They needed some students to help at a volunteer at an event, and they were short of volunteers. So I said, sure, I'll call some guys up. So I called some high school kids. They showed up. They did an amazing job. And so then the Kiwanis Club called me. Then the chamber called me. And then all of these not-for-profits were calling me. And someone said, John, just start a program. So Silver Cord is a program that is, you know, it's a contribution to community service. It's commitment to community. Look, if you graduate with a gold cord, that's academic excellence. In Taylor, if you graduate with a silver cord, that means commitment to community. So our students that graduate with a silver cord have accrued 160 volunteer hours from their freshman year till their senior year. That's less than 4 hours a month. I spend my Fridays on the high school campus during lunch, passing out volunteer opportunities from Kiwanis, Lions, all of the clubs, and documenting volunteer hours as well. So I'm pretty much booked Monday through Friday from, 10:30-ish till 1:20-ish between mentoring and Silver Cord. That's an event the Silver Cord students do for the Chamber of Commerce. That's after the event, they've picked it up. We probably had 40 or 50 students out there. That's their big fundraiser. And I just noticed that, but in the middle, just to the left of the guy in sunshades, is Tia. And she did a photo bomb on that. She's smiling. She's real happy that we helped her out. That's us at Christmas. We do school supplies. This is my last slide. I know it's the one you've been waiting for. And I did not mean to go this long. I just put that there because that's a relationship. We're doing Coats for Kids. I work with Salvation Army. Stacy Stork at Salvation Army has done an amazing job. And with Coats for Kids, what she does is provide us with gift coupons to Gaddy Pizza. So the whole family, everyone that gets a coat, the whole family goes and eats at Gaddy's for free over the holidays. What a great thing. Plus, there's a $5 gift card to ride the rides and play the games at Gaddy's, and the kids get those. And so it's just a good event. We give them books, we give them coats, we give them the Gaddy's thing. We didn't do the Pepsis, but that's all right. And I think that's the one you've been waiting for. That's what I do. My name is John, and look, thank you for putting up with all of this. I know it was a lot. I hope I didn't bore you to death. And on behalf of the school district and the city of Taylor, just thank you. Thank you.
John, thank you so much for sharing. I really appreciate you taking time out of your obviously busy schedule to meet with us today. But one of the things that I want to share is it's so obvious what makes Taylor successful is they go outside the school walls. Sometimes we have this expectation they're always going to come to us, but in reality, a program is built by you going outside of the school walls and to make those connections, to build those partnerships. So job well done, John and Taylor ISD. John, I've got a couple of questions that people have asked. One is suggestion on how to acquire funds for the food pantry.
I would go to churches. I would start by going to churches and saying, look, we need to get a closet and put some food in it. And when people are hungry, we need to put it in a bag and get it to families. Start small. That's what we did. Our food pantry, when I moved here, was open 1 day a week, and there was a line all around the block. We had the people, we just didn't have the staffing. Life Park, which is that big not-for-profit that I talked to you about with the housing instability. And they got into it, and they're housing our food pantry, or they're staffing our food pantry 6 days a week now. Start small. Start with the closet. And I know from McKinney-Vento, you want the pop-off lids. You want the things that are easy to cook. And also Walmart and HEB, that's all I know because that's what's in Taylor, but they always have things that they can get rid of. So you can talk to grocers as well, and they can give you some food and start you off. But talk to your churches and talk to your grocery stores and just keep on it. And you'll start with a closet and you'll work yourself up. Good question. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, John. And one of the things that you heard John mention earlier is reaching out to your Lions Club, your Rotary Club, and people like that is so important to build those partnerships and connections because they're often looking for something to get involved with. And this is a great way to make that connection. Another question, John, is what is the length of time the mentors commit to stay with the child?
Well, they're there for the duration of the lunch on that aspect. But as far as the semester from fall till spring, what we do, we're going to do 10 weeks in Taylor. So they're there for 10 weeks. That's 5 hours. And again, if your lunch is 30 to 40 minutes, we're in a rural community. Taylor's small, we're 15, 16,000. So you can leave your office or job site, run to the campus, get your mentoring in, and be back within an hour. And that's the selling point. So if I were in a larger city, I would probably just fan out from the campus and look, what you have available and start acquiring volunteers there. Churches are a great place. Did I answer that?
Yes, you did. Kind of going a little bit beyond that answer, John, what about if a particular mentor really attached to his student and they wanted to stay with that student, let's say for the course of a year? Is that acceptable? Do y'all do that?
Well, yeah, we could do that. We go 10 weeks in the fall, 10 weeks in the spring, and that's good. A lot of times they're going to say, well, I want to come back when they're not there. That's an issue between the campus, the principal, and the mentor's parents. So there's a little bit more liability there because I'm not going to be able to be there after those first 10 weeks. I've got other things, you got things to do. So we've done it before, and we've had mentors actually follow their students up from grade to grade. But that's an issue between the parent and your campus. So there's some liability issues, and so we're going to work those out. But yeah, if the mentor wants to go longer, that's great. You want that. So we do that.
Absolutely. Thank you, John. I'm going to reach out to my team. Are there other questions that maybe I missed or that you guys want to ask?
unmuted. John, we had several questions right after you presented about the car seats. So if you could possibly maybe put that slide back up that you had about, I think it said TxDOT or whatnot, just lots of questions on how to become that certified person again. I think that would be helpful for everyone to be able to visually see. If you can do that, if not, maybe
That's
share
easy.
that one more time.
You want to Google Safe Riders, and they will be able to point you in the right direction. Again, the people, and I can't stress this anymore, the people that do car seats are very passionate about car seats because they've seen the effects of improper installation. That's how I got it involved. That's what you want to do. Let me see. With COVID-19, it's really tough, but you can, give me just 1 second. Let me see what I have here. So I've got a lot written down here. Try this. I'm going to give you a phone number and write this down and see if it works. Now, in my job, I always call the number before I give it out because you want to do that when you're giving, someone for some support or an opportunity to do something, you always check the number. I haven't checked the number, but when I Googled Safe Riders, this number came up, 1-800-252-8255. I do know that we're not doing events anymore. You get in the back seat of the car. It's really close up and personal stuff. You're holding the babies when the mom's doing it. So we're not doing events right now. Call them, keep calling them. They're going to bring an event to your campus. These guys want to get car seats out. It's important.
And you guys, I'm going to put in a website here in just a second that you can go to for the Safe Riders. So I'll put the website in there as well. Shannon has added the phone number. I'm going to ask very quickly if Matthew, Katie, or Skip, while I'm typing that in, has a question.
I don't have a question at this time, but I thank you, John, and don't leave us yet, but I thank you, John, for sharing your expertise and your passion. And of course, as Terry said at the very beginning, I've had the pleasure of being a friend and associate with you for quite a few years. And so thank you for being yourself today and being real. And it's what you've shared are ideas that we can adapt to our schools. And so thank you so very much. Because the questions I would have asked have already been addressed or asked by Terry.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. I do.
Okay, I think I've just about, I keep miss putting in some wrong words. So give me just a second and I'll post the website. I just realized where it says www, it should have said .dshs, not comma. And I think between state and Texas, it's a comma again, but wherever you see those commas, it was supposed to be an S. Okay, so that'll give you both a phone number and an email address. And again, John, thank you so much for a job well done. And again, I just can't emphasize enough how important it is to, whether you're in a rural, urban, or suburban environment, it is so important to get to know your community.
John, we had a question on here. Somebody wants for you to repeat the 911 training groups the community programs that were involved with your 911 training program.
Yeah, 911. That actually came from car seats. And again, all of these events, they just allow you to do so much more. My 911 started from car seats, and we have police, we have fire, and we have ambulance, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Thursdays we're at the 911 call center, it's really interesting. I mean, it's a lot. I've never been to one. Most people haven't. And so you go and you get to tour a 911 facility, and that's really interesting. Then on Friday, it's the t-shirts and the graduation day. Did that answer it, Matthew? Did I get you there?
Perfect.
Hey, Terry, you're muted.
Sorry about that. Too many buttons to keep up with for an old woman.
Tell me about it.
So I want to remind you that our next event is going to be on December the 1st, and it will be with A-Leaf ISD and Edinburgh ISD. So we're going to move from a more rural setting to a larger school setting. But as Skip said at the beginning of this, it doesn't really matter whether you're rural or suburban. You can get nuggets of information from each of these events that you can share. And so we hope to see you there. I have had a couple of people private message me during this and say, are we going to continue to do these maybe in the spring? If you're really interested in us continuing to do these, maybe a couple of more in the spring, put something in the chat box, and certainly at our next meeting, I will have one of my team members put together some type of questionnaire or something that we could get some feedback that we can share with TEA that you guys want us to continue with these. Also, if you're doing some great things in your districts that you would like to tell us about and share with us, there are other ways that we can share this information as well. So certainly let us know, because we're all in this together and we all learn from each other. And as John said multiple times during this training, this too shall pass. We will not be in the COVID moment forever, but it's also during moments like this that we're finding that parent and family engagement is critical. If you went into COVID with good relationships like Taylor and Groover ISD and these other places, if you went into COVID with the good relationships already built, then it was easier for you to connect with these families during COVID. If you didn't, then you had to just start building a bridge, and it took a while to build that bridge. So now is the time. We are in point critical when it comes to building those relationships. So don't think it can't be done even during COVID. It's just done differently. And one of the best ways that you can do that is what John and them did, and that's by delivering those meals and supplies to these families that are in need during COVID. So I want to say to all of you, it means a lot to us as an initiative to have such good numbers on these expos. It tells me that we're all wanting to learn, we're wanting to grow, we're wanting to do a better job. So keep up the good work, and I look forward to seeing everyone at the December 1st Expo. And looking at the chat room, it's coming in over and over and over again that you guys want continued expos, so we can definitely begin to look at that. And thank you so much. All of you stay safe and take care. And thanks again, John. Let's give him a warm wave of good job. Appreciate y'all so much, and y'all all be blessed, stay safe, and have a great day. Thank you so much.